Camera died. Stupid things. Alright, where was I? This last part for putting our Vex wheel on with the gears is going to be, this is going to be 2.5 inch one. Now this is my old one from when I made my wood and my Sentra drives. It's going to have 2 collars on each side and 2 bearings inside of here. So we want it to roll on the bearings and not just where the tube spins. The tube is what's going to be pressed between the 2 plates. So if you just try to stick washers on each side of this, it will not work. I really like the idea of washers. It was pushing, on my other one, it was pushing on the collars itself, which was not good, and it was not making the wheel spin very well. So this one, I guess I'll try it first with the washer, just because I like there's more surface area touching this plate here. So it distributes the weight and it won't slide as much, and you won't lose tension in your chain. This is that's my theory. So the gear is going to go down, slides right in. Now when you pick up your tube, bring a pair of calipers or steel calipers from Menards, wherever. They normally have them laying out, but steal one from the aisle or borrow one from the aisle and measure your tube, making sure it's under 1/2 inch thick. Mine right now is 580 thousandths, so it's 80 thousandths too much, and so I have to sand it down if I cut this, just to fit in this part. I mean, it works as great as spacers, but this part, it makes it a thing. So we're going to take our collar, slide it on, and then we use an Allen wrench, tighten the collar. Put it on. Because I'm using the smaller of the 2 of the washers, I don't think it's going around it, it's going on the tube itself. So this may work for what we want it for. Which I'll have to do to replace it to the other side. I don't know. Yeah, it was my spacer sitting, because I have this type of spacer, and this is the kind of spacer you can find at TSC, and they're twice as thick. These are the ones I believe you can get from Vex, which are a whole lot better, or MasterCar, or any of the other online supplier. The thicker ones, they work just as well on everything else. You just sometimes it might push pressure in areas you don't want it, and you'll have to compensate for it. So, but maybe I'll take this one apart, and when I work on it later on, because I wanted to see if I can do 4-wheel drive on this. I'll try to figure out how I can put 2 washers inside here, so it distributes the weight and it won't slide as much. With that being done, we've got our spacers cut here. We got to cut this one. We didn't have to cut this one. We're going to try to just run it and see how it works. If it binds up, we'll have to take it apart and I'll cut a new spacer, grind down the outside. So we basically can now put our plate back on. Put our plate on. All the holes with all the bolts. There it goes. Now, the one thing I forgot to do, again, I didn't put on the chain. At least loop it onto that gear. Put it on the gear, loop it on the gear, slide this back on. Or we'll be taking this wheel off again. Yeah, we're good. Alright. Washer. Now we can put our plate back. So I didn't have washers on any of the parts in the inside. It doesn't need them. The spacers are holding them in place, so we don't have to worry about that. So washer on that side, all 5 of these. And then we take our our nylock nuts. Let's get them up to where the nylon insert is. Get these containers really neat. Now that that's done, it'll hold itself together just enough so we can start tightening some bolts. So, our stuff is over here. Get out of the way. Top two, go for it, cinch down on them. The bottom three, you gotta kind of play with the distance to make sure everything works and spins. Because they're nylock nuts, you can play with them and not have it back out. Alright. Now, this is the one you can't really cinch down on. The front wheel, or the drive wheel, is one we have to cinch down on. So, yeah, see, I went too far on that one. So now, it doesn't really want to spin. So let's back it up. Right side of the wrench. Yeah, it looks like there's another problem here. So I'll have to take that one off and I'll see what's wrong, really wrong. I think the spacer's sitting just too far wide. So that's what's wrong. So, and if any time that you need to space these out a little bit more, a washer will work just fine. If they're just cut a little bit too short, it's not a problem. Just use a washer. So we're going to measure this to make sure that we're at the right distance. We're sitting at 2.5. Don't like that, but I can't do anything about it. So let's slide our chain on. We're going to install the motor too, which is right here. These are M5 screws for this motor on the scooters. Mine are 16 millimeter long and they seem to fit just fine inside. You can use cap head or pan head. Either one works, and at least I've seen. I think I ran it this way. I did. And it just slides right in, no problems. I do want to try to bring the chain around the bolt though, before I even try to put a screw in. There we go. Chain's in place. We get first screw. Drop it on the floor. My pan head screws are Phillips. My other ones were Allen's. That's why I said you need an Allen wrench. I forgot that I switched it up. If you build these out of wood, the pan head screws wouldn't do really well. My wood version, it needed the pan head screws or the chain was going to hit the cap head. But just the spacing, I had to really play with the spacing if I wanted it to work together without a problem. Which, with this diamond hole in here, thank you, Andrew. He's the mastermind behind that sucker. Makes it where you can get to all the holes just fine. And it's really, even though this is for the scooter, or I'm doing the scooter here, it's really made for the amp flows. Because that's what those two are trying to use. And I think in the US you can build this entire kit with Omnis. Not 3D printed ones from Vex. for, I think it was $400, $450. It's substantially less. I mean, the plates themselves, I think they were around $120 or $130 to get them cut and mailed to you, which is reasonable, quite reasonable. So I have them cut by a friend, and he forgot to put the screw holes even in it because he had to redraw the DXF for his program. This one down. Try to keep tension on the chain. You're just going to pull back on it. You can smack it with a hammer or pair of pliers. Just enough so the chain. We did not invent a auto chain tensioner or in this. Technically, you could just using turnbuckles and a big washer, and then weld it to a bolt that goes into the turnbuckle, then goes into a screw right here, and you can turn the turnbuckle and push it this way. And you really only need it on the one side, just something to hold it. But this seems like it works alright, so time will tell. So that seems like it's rolling nicely. That is my drive. I think I lost my battery, but we can use this one. Just for a test, to show how well this works, or not how well it works. Drill battery. This is a 16 volt. These are 24 volt motors. Nice and smooth. Alright. Here we go. So, if you want to stay with me, I will diagnose what's wrong with the vest. I just think the tube's too long, but we'll see. You can see things come off quite easily. Washer. Ah, that's my problem. It's not 2.5 inches wide. I must have made this less. One of them less. That one, it's over 2.5. Let's see if our problem is right here. Yep, right there. There's our problem. To fix this, it's quite easy. Just, you know, loosen this one too, just so it's easier to work with. They will come out no problem. So you can put the washer on the inside, outside, whatever. That's the washer. Go right there. Another spacer. Ah. Check your dimensions. 2.5. All we need to do is just needed a washer. Put that back on, tighten everything back up. Measure just a hair under 2.5. Now it fits in nicely. Use the washer for spacer. Oh, too tight. Crazy. You just want it to get tight enough where it moves freely and there's no slop. It may take a couple, one click. If you start feeling resistance, it's going to stop. Don't bother. Yep, I want to go one more. Not perfect, not the way I like it. So, there we go. That's what we're looking for. Nice, smooth option. And all it took was a washer. Now these are ready to be bolted in the droid, chains are tensioned, and then your foot shell will literally sit on these spacers, the bottom of that U channel, and then your bolt will go through here. Our DXF I don't think includes a hole, so you can move it wherever you want. But you just got to remember to drill it prior to try mounting on your droid. You have to figure out where you need it, how far down you need it, whatever it is. It depends on your foot shells. So we make it where this is just right under the edge of the top of the foot shell. So we took just a rough estimate of what everybody else's was, or most of the common ones. So here's one drive. Here's the second drive. Now, if you notice something, I oopsed. They're both for a left, or they're both for a right. And I think I was going to put my drive in the back, so they're both for a left. So I have to reverse, which I have to take this one apart anyway, but I have to reverse the order of assembly from your left to your right. So that way you can put one on the left, one on the right. They're just going to be opposite each other. So it's just another part to think about in building these. I mean, we will try to write up a guide and a tutorial as best we can to make it as easy as possible. But realistically, these are simple. I mean, they took 20 minutes to make. The only really work